world.
It's a new year. Oh man, missed talking to you guys. Took 2 weeks off there, Paul. That felt pretty good. You know what? In case anyone was wondering why, to me, holidays family time, right? So definitely, I hope everyone out here got to spend some time with family, got to deprioritize the grind a little bit. Before anyone asks, yes, I did build an enormous amount of Warhammer over the past 2 weeks. I think about $1,000 worth. So I could have bought 2 arcades for the amount of Warhammer that I had to build. So
everyone was asking. You wouldn't believe how many comments I got.
I wouldn't be surprised if half the people tune out now. That's what they came for. Did Kevin build Warhammer over the holiday? Yes, I did. An enormous amount.
Yeah. Well, and we're done.
All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And hopefully next time we have super chats.
Based on all the Warhammer knowledge we're giving out, that's what's going to get us.
I'll do a sub show. I'll do it like a subset of our normal show. It'll be like Warhammer Wednesdays.
We'll just reverse the roles where you know everything about Warhammer and and
you make smart ass jokes the whole time.
Something
perfect.
Like that. Yeah,
perfect.
So speaking of smart assery, you should probably get in here and say hello to some of our friends in the chat. And look who's first.
There he is, Retro
Elon
Day.
Musk. I mean, maybe one of these days. We're not quite there yet. Biggie D got in early.
Always at the top, Biggie.
Yeah.
Always at the top. Good to see you, brother.
Josh Dendy, who is an awesome dude. Been chatting with him offline. It's just great guy, great supporter. Good to see you here, Josh. And Jay's here. Yep. I didn't catch it. Don Knott. Hotel near CE. Oh man. Now we're gonna leave John.
The stupid fat hobbit. Absolutely, we know.
Who could that be?
I don't know. It could be anybody. Absolutely, it has the catchphrase.
Okay, absolutely. Jim the Pacers fan is here.
Great to have you.
See you. Yep. Danny's in the house.
What up, brother?
Let's go.
Let's go. Good to have him.
Not too far off there, Danny. And Arcade Kev is here because he's here.
That's right.
Here.
I work here for free. Yeah, that's right. I just wanted to make sure Josh Dendy was saying I was Arnold. I'm not going to be DeVito.
Kevin Clausen is here.
Hey, now to be fair, I do think I have like the show sponsored at like $40 a month. So I don't know if that's like a performance enhancing drug that we have to.
Yes. That's full transparency. So
yeah, full transparency, Kevin. I do spend $40 a month promoting it on Google. So
when we get 15,000 subs, you'll know 14,451 of those.
Correct. It's an aggressive ad strategy. We are blowing up.
Although I will say, I mean, it's in the U.S. only, so that's a good thing.
Of course.
We've got, we're keeping it in our backyard at least. So let's see, who didn't I catch it? Darren Kane is here. Good evening.
Happy New Year.
And I don't recognize this face.
Finally able to catch the live show. Is this your first one? If so, welcome to the party.
And I love seeing XL in your name. I don't know if that's intentional for cabinet sizes or not, but I will pretend that it is. Tom Ball is here. Good to see you again. Happy New Year to you. I'll let you say this one.
Oh, my cock hurts. Missed you, brother. Welcome back. Happy New Year.
They make medication for that, I'm pretty sure.
It doesn't work.
No. Wafflehead. Happy New Year. Spy Hunter.
First Spy Hunter pitch of 2026.
Did we not squash those rumors yet? I guess
nope. That's there it is. The first one. Who's got Qbert? Who's got Qbert in 2026? Waiting for
and
it.
Dragon's Lair and XL.
Oh, that's right.
We have the trifecta.
the free bird of the home arcade space.
Of unobtainium home arcade cabinets.
Unobtainium.
Uh,
B. Kirby.
Awesome to see you, B. Kirby. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Check out his channel. Awesome dude. Always keeps it real for all the live streams that he's in, and very much appreciate him. Duskcade, New Year, New Arcades. I mean,
Could happen.
Certainly hope so. Is Real Gaming is here. Awesome to see you back again, as always. Mr. Clutch is here. Well, Mr. Clutch. And
Wants to get to the new guest. Hey man, we got to tease it out. We gotta give everybody their shout out, man. People join. They want to say hello. Gotta say hello back.
Oh yeah, just trying to. Yeah, but our little thing comes up here is too slow. Maybe I'll just do away with that.
That's right.
Steps is in the house. Great to
There it
see
is.
you as always. I always love our little side chats. Burnt Orange is also here. And Moat's in the house.
What up,
Moat is
Moat?
awesome. He is a legend in our time. Gin Rummy, cheers to you. Who did I not catch yet? Alan Jones. All right. I think, oh gosh, wow. I don't want to forget anybody here. Bobby 1ALU is here. Fat Hog is here. Don't kill Spy Hunter, he says. Well, you know, can you kill it if it was never alive?
That's right. It's always just been a rumor.
I don't know. Kev Getter's here. That's awesome.
Oh, good to see him.
About New Year. Oh, do we have New Year's resolutions?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know if we do. Maybe we should. Provolone Joe's here. Looking forward to some news. Do what we can. 90 minutes of off-topic rambling. Well, both. They're not mutually exclusive, I don't think.
I think he's just saying the show's too long. We need to shut up sooner. Cut off right at 1 hour.
Probably not wrong. End of line. Unsquash Spy Hunter. Again. Jeez, all right.
There it is. Spy Hunter's the topic of the night.
Geo Sean. All right. Well, we should probably just get into it. Otherwise, just keep going. And someday when we're actually successful, I'll never stop doing this. It'll be like a full show of just saying hi.
Making baked ziti while having this on the background. I love it. Combine
That's the way to do it.
Man, bringing us into the kitchen. I love to hear it.
It's better, it's better than like on the crapper, which is probably what, half of the other people are watching from.
Or trying to chat while you're driving. That's just dangerous. I hope no one's doing that.
Do not do that. PSA.
PSA indeed. Well, I think so there's obviously always going to be your news updates and your topics and things like that. So as far as the latest updates, as they would concern, let's say Iconic Arcade and Wonderland Amusement, both of these companies are now booking container space. So if you're wondering if the product ever actually gets to hit the ocean and ever come to our beautiful freedom-loving shores, the answer is yes. Yes, the containers are being booked. The schedules are being made. So now it's all on the back and forth on which ship do you get on, which containers are available, etc. So happy to see that. I just got off my call earlier today with the team over at Iconic Arcade. And I was just holding my breath. I'm like, man, this is the first call of the year. If you guys are going to tell me that there's going to be another delay, I'm going to be, I was just waiting, and they pulled it up, and everyone had smiles, and it's like, yep, our logistics girl is getting all those things booked right now. And we're going to be able to start seeing those here shortly. Obviously things need to travel across the world and whatnot, but, both of those companies are finally getting to the delivering stages. So that's a wonderful thing to see. Obviously, if you were a Kickstarter supporter for Wonderland, you're going to get yours first. So you're already at the front of the line. Same with the Iconic Arcade guys. Those pre-orders, they're going to ship out quite a bit earlier actually than the rest of them. So if you've been waiting and you're like, what was in it for me this whole time? You've been waiting for your Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball machine, and you're like, I want it in my basement, and I want to talk about it before everyone else gets to talk about it. You're gonna get to do that. So
that's fantastic news.
Very, very excited to be able to share that. That's a great way to start the year, right? I was so worried. I was worried. I was especially with the Iconic Arcade guys. I was getting out there. I was like, man, if you're going to tell me that I have to go to the people again and tell them about another delay, I'm gonna move.
You and me
change professions.
People can't
do
see
something.
this. I'm gonna move you off screen for a second because look at that corner. You see that corner?
Oh, what's going there? What's going there?
That's where the Iconic is going.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I got rid of this stupid golf mashup nonsense.
Oh, that atrocity. Good. You have good taste. You have good taste. My dad and I played quite a bit of pinball growing up. He had a big one of the original Star Trek pinball machines.
Oh, wow.
So we had a lot of memories playing that, and he already had texted me. He's like, "Hey, when are your pinball machines going on sale? You know, I want to get one of those." So hopefully when I go back and visit family over the holidays or over the summer, I should say, hopefully he's got Alice Goes to Wonderland in the basement at that point. So fingers crossed.
That's where the Golden Tee went. Actually, was my dad's basement. So there you go. Same.
Perfect.
Same deal. It kept it in the family, but made space for the Iconic. Gosh. So I'm ready for it. It's measured out. It's the whole thing. It's gonna be a drop-in deal.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of an electronic piano because I know there's a couple Iconics, and I think a pinball machine would fit real nicely right over there. So I think 2026 is the year that we all level up the home arcades. So I'm really excited to see what's going on there.
I am unfortunately space deprived currently, and I've yet to be able to convince my wife to extend it into the adjoining room. So until I can do that, I can't really fit in any pinball machines. I had a V-pin for a little while, but it took up a lot of space. So I'm kind of limited now to my back wall.
Well, if you need more space, Spreetail, we sell a ton of stuff. We have really nice tents and air mattresses. You could actually just move your wife into the backyard, and then we could just take over that whole master bedroom, and have an entirely different arcade. She would love it. Don't even run it by her. Great surprise.
There
Anniversary gift.
I mean, marital advice from Spreetail.
Spreetail does not endorse these comments. But Paul, I think we should probably get around to introducing our first guest that we've been able to get here.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of have been hinting around a little bit, and certainly that news that you just shared is going to be a good introduction.
I might have seen a little smile backstage when I was talking about some of that stuff there, but I think yeah, let's bring in our friend here.
And here we go.
So we have with us, everybody, say hello to Jerry, the godfather, if I could be so bold, of the home arcade. The whole community, all of this, Jerry, we are all here because of your brainchild. So no pressure. Wow us with your brilliance.
Not just me.
We're thrilled to have you, Jerry. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
No, it was absolutely a no-brainer. So Jerry, I don't know if you torture yourself by watching our show ever. I don't recommend it. It's a terrible show. We have no idea what we're doing. But a few months ago, Paul and I started this show here, really just giving people the inside scoop on the arcades, what's actually going on, what's real, what's coming, what can we get excited about. And going into the new year, we thought, how do we level up? We were a little tongue in cheek there with that graphic, Paul. Good job. But thought the best way to start off this 2026 is really talking to the guy who was there day one, got a lot of this started. I've had the pleasure, obviously, of talking to you quite a bit, so I know you've got stories, and you're always a fun guy to chat with. So. For those of you for the people who don't know you, Jerry, why don't you just do a quick introduction of yourself, who you are, what's your claim to fame, and
Okay. Well, my name is Jerry Cummings. I was the president of a company called ThinkUp, which was a design firm. We specialized in doing, in pretty much in the toy industry, also consumer electronics, and we designed product for as a consultant and as a designer through all the major toy companies. I've been doing this for, geez, well over 30 years. So I've been making product, designing product, creating product, manufacturing product, understand the process. I mean, some people don't like going over to China and having stuff made and brought over here. But I've had some great experiences with making product over there. Product is only as good as the person who designs it and creates it. With making product, in the consumer products world where we're making product, a lot of it is about cost.
yeah,
And how much does it cost? So you got to balance the two. You got to balance, you can throw all the bells and whistles in it, but then it just outprices itself, and it's not really a very good consumer product. So we got to kind of figure out how to make that, and that's something that I've been doing for 30 years. When you look at a toy product, for example, a simple toy product, the toy companies have a price point. They go, this product needs to be whatever the price would be, on retail. So you can just kind of figure it out what the cost of buying it would be. So that's your parameters when you're trying to design a toy.
yep,
So and I know this is all about arcades, but everyone knows Scott Bacharach, and Scott and I knew each other for 20 years. So over the course of those 20 years, we have been designing products together. Him coming to my studio, I'm working with him. Just hundreds of different things that we've made over the years together in different ways. He's a cool guy. He's got a lot of energy, but but he actually came to my shop one time with an idea which was unrelated to the arcade world, and that was the spark plug that when he left our meeting, because it wasn't anything to do with arcades, but my group in my studio said, you know what, it'd be kind of cool if we could make a cabinet
yeah,
with a screen in it, and you could play Pac-Man, for example, and it was like a piece of furniture in your home. And it's kind of funny because now was it 2017 or something like that when we started it? With emulation being existing, and I didn't know a whole lot about this, but I was a product guy, and I'm like looking at that, going, wait a second, you can take an '80s arcade machine and you can put it on a little chip now,
yep,
right? And you need a screen, you need some joysticks and some buttons, and the rest of it is air. It's just wood. So we looked at that and we said, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see. And it's kind of funny because Scott recognized us right away. We in my studio, we I don't know if you guys are familiar with, like, you go to Home Depot and you find that pink foam, that insulation foam.
oh yeah,
Yeah, the sheets. Yeah.
So we just in the studio, we just kind of designed a shape. Matter of fact, the original shape I called it a shark fin. It was like the original shark fin shape. We
That's
made
what it was-
that exact shape. We sketched it up. I made it. We cut it out. We put some graphics on it. We put some screens on there. We put some fake joysticks on there. And we put it. We made it. It was sitting there right there. And then Scott came back for something else. He came back for another product that we're working on, and he couldn't help but stare at the foam core
yeah.
that was sitting over. He goes, he just kept looking at it, and he goes, there's something there. And
Did you
That's really what started it all.
Did you think though, like at the time? I mean, I know you've done a ton of toys, you've done a lot of games and all sorts of different things, but like this was a toy, right? I mean, this was a toy. It was something that was like cool. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that a few years later, men in their 40s would be watching podcasts and discussing which one of these would be coming out next and who's collecting what and like getting into the nitty gritty? Like, did you ever think that this would kick off like such an enormous community?
No, absolutely. I'll be honest with you. No, Scott and I had no idea. We were like, it was a journey. I can tell you that too, because the concept, right? So we had these foam cores, and we had these. Basically, it looked exactly the same way, but in foam core, very early, it looked like the same thing, same as those machines back there. But the journey of trying to make this at a price point was what I was all about.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you right now, we looked up some manufacturers over in China, cold called them and said, "Hey, we want to come visit you." And we flew out there. Myself, Scott didn't come with me. I flew out myself and I had a business relationship guy that I had such a friend who lived in Hong Kong. And we went and visited these manufacturers, and they were real small manufacturers. They weren't the manufacturers that we use, but they were really small manufacturers, and they were already making arcades in China.
Okay.
So I went over to these guys and I said, "Look, I have an idea of making this arcade thing. Can you make me up a sample? Like, just I don't care how much it costs. Just make me up a sample." So I gave them my design, and they made it.
Yeah.
And I brought it over. And I put it in front of Scott, and we looked at it, and we go, now, it was nothing of what we ultimately made, but we had this wooden box with a screen in it and joysticks, and we looked at it, he goes, "Man, this is crazy." So I know, it was really silly.
Yeah.
So we took that prototype, and we started like showing people, is this a product that, now at the same time, we were interviewing manufacturers that we knew over the years that made product. And so while they were looking at that, we were talking about costing. How much does this thing cost? Like, really, what can we get it down to? We were crazy. We thought we could get it for a lot less. But when you get into the wood and sourcing screens and, the building our own boards and stuff like that, it went up pretty quick. But at the same time we were getting it costed, we were showing it to a few key people in the world, the retail world, and they went bonkers over it. Well, if you can make that,
Yeah.
and we really didn't know. We still didn't. We still didn't know. And since those few people got really excited about it, said, "This is a great product. This is cool. Can you guys deliver this?" How it just snowballed. And then I spent so much time overseas because I started researching wood manufacturers, and we would visit them and different types of wood, different types of MDF. How much does it cost? How thick does it have to be? How what? Trying to get the cost right. Screens. Oh, screens. There's a whole nother world.
That's still an issue, by the way.
Oh, don't bring up the screens, Jerry. There's going to be opinions.
Well, no. You can go where you want. When we ended up, believe it or not, as you guys know, everyone knows in the community, we ended up with BOE.
Yep.
And they are a huge manufacturer. They kind of laughed at us because they make millions of screens, all sizes and shapes for the whole world. And we come in and says, "Well, how many pieces do you want? Of what size?" And they said, and I forget what we said, but something like, "Hey, maybe we might sell 30,000 of them, maybe." And the guy says, "Well, I can't stop my line to make 30,000.
Yeah.
So how are we gonna? So it was a huge learning curve. I'm gonna tell you that screens, the whole arcade world. It was an education for me. I wasn't a big arcade fan. I mean, I grew up in that era, just like everyone else. We played them and went to arcades and played them, but never thought I'd end up doing something like this. But it just, I mean, as you guys, you probably know the evolution of the whole process as well as anybody. Anybody listening to this podcast probably knows a lot about how, Arcade One Up started out and then how it progressed and how some people would say it improved. Uh, I have different opinions of that, but we don't have to get into that.
Well, that's part of the reason we wanted to have you on too, is because we kind of, we're starting this new format, this sort of interview with an insider. And to me, I mean, there are a lot of people that obviously fans in the community know of who have been out there talking about stuff for years. But in my mind, what you did with your company, Think Up at the time, sort of set the template for the whole category as we know it now. I mean, the whole idea of a flat packed kind of assemble it yourself format. I mean, I was in IKEA over the weekend, and in my brain, it's just like, this was brilliant. Why didn't anybody think of this sooner?
Well, to be honest with you, I fought for that. That was my thought. To be honest with you, and not, I shouldn't say my thought. I have a group of guys, very creative, very talented, and so I'm not saying it's me alone, but I fought hard for the flat pack, build it yourself, IKEA. I fought hard for that.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Scott was a big believer. No, we'll send it in a big box. And
Oh, wow.
I said, Scott, it's air. And I said, you know what?
air.
IKEA is one of the
shipping,
biggest stores in the planet. Come on, man. Everyone, but he was on a different plane than the regular folks. And I said, no, I'm very familiar with the IKEA and building it itself. This isn't that complicated. We can do this. And I remember, years ago, but I remember I sent a design over to one of our manufacturers that was ultimately made it for us. And we were working with a wood maker. And I said, look, it's got to break down. I, in my mind, actually had a plan for it. So we already, it's got to have these two sides. You got to get some supports in there. They actually had too much wood in it. I went back over there and just cut some of the stuff out because it was too heavy.
Doesn't need to be a tank. We're just playing video games.
No. It's pretty hollow. It's got a board this big. Really, all you got to do is protect that screen and make it strong enough to hold the deck. Really what we had to do. So I remember after, I don't know, months of rebuilding it and building it and coming up with those lock screws and figuring out how to do it. And it worked out great. I loved it. And I remember showing it to Scott, and he hated it.
Oh, what do you hate about it?
No one's going to be able to build that. It's too hard. It's too complicated. You can't build that.
It's funny. It's funny how history proved you're right on that, because your product was really coming and getting born right before that COVID era.
Yeah.
So if you had a crystal ball and said, okay, let's design something that is going to be mass shipped, because people aren't going to be allowed to go to stores, but the government's going to give them massive checks, and they could go and do whatever they want to decorate their house. And you're like, well, what about flat packed arcade machines? Like, it couldn't have been a better product for the time. I mean, I know that's when we got one of the earlier generations of the Pac-Man.
Yeah.
That's the one that started it for us. But I mean, history, you won that argument, Jerry. If you had gone with the large boxes and these hadn't been the e-commerce, massive success that they were.
And it hasn't fundamentally changed since then. I mean, you're going on at least 7-ish years now, basically the same design. So
it works out pretty good. I mean, look, I said earlier about product. When you're into the manufacturing and it's a business, it's all about the money, right? So you can't ship air in a container.
Nope.
It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. And I was a firm believer in building the stuff, and I'm kind of handy and, all the designing stuff. So I thought it was kind of cool. It was like a model kit. You put it together, there's some pride. Once you put it together, it's not that complicated, but you put it together, go, wow, I put that together. It's kind of cool, So it did work out. I mean, I'm knock on wood. I'm glad it did, and it made sense. And no one really complained. I mean, I know we expected that there were going to be some people, I got to put this thing together. But really, it hasn't been a big deal. I don't believe there's been a lot of talk about it.
You had IKEA, I think,
Yeah,
already out there and pretty well accepted. I put together some far more complicated IKEA crap
yeah,
than
yeah,
a home arcade machine. And I know they had the TaskRabbit thing later on for people that needed help, but I honestly don't know that that was ever really taken advantage of that much. I think most
yeah.
people have some like pride of ownership in
Right,
putting it together. To me, that's part of the experience. It's like, hey, you didn't build it, but you assembled it. You had a hand in bringing this thing into your environment in
Yeah.
a way that's different than just, oh, I bought this thing and I sat it on my shelf. There's
right.
something to that.
Oh,
It's
Well,
I thought so too. Yeah, I thought
yeah,
so too.
and,
you're
and,
right.
and to Jerry's point, I mean, every now and then we'll, like, yeah, obviously we're always looking through the reviews and like, hey, are there improvements to make? And every now and then, oh man, this thing's so difficult to put together. And I'm like, have you ordered anything on the interwebs in the past 10 years? Like,
Yeah.
this is every single bookcase, shelf, like.
Yeah.
Everything that your wife has ever ordered that you're like, I have to put this together on a Thursday night. Like, yes, you do. So
Now you alluded to this a little bit,
Yeah.
Jerry, and I'm curious, and if you don't want to get into that, that's perfectly fine. But I know there was some things I revisited an old interview you did, I think maybe 4 years ago. It was Unqualified Critics, and you talked about some things that were maybe diverging opinions in terms of maybe what your firm was kind of looking to do versus maybe what the market, or at least certain parts of the market, were wanting in terms of larger sizes, maybe better controls, maybe not having a riser, going for pure nostalgia versus reinterpretations. Looking back at that versus kind of where you are now, and of course we're going to talk about Wonderland here in a few minutes, but
Sure.
I'm curious if your opinion has stayed the same or if it's evolved, or just kind of where you netted out with some of kind of where you started versus where things are now. And if you had to do it over again, would you do anything differently?
Well, I wouldn't do anything differently, but I know that it evolved differently than what I would have liked it to been.
Oh,
And I could probably get some people upset at me, by saying some of the things that I may say about the community, the people who are really passionate about arcades and Arcade One, following their lead, wanting to please them. I didn't, and don't get upset at me. I wasn't the person that wanted to please the collectors, the people who wanted the nostalgia and wanted it the right, T molding and the right
you were
colors
looking at
and the right
mass
stroke.
market. You were looking at the
I was
Walmart
looking, I was
shopper.
looking at mass.
Uh-huh.
I was looking at mass, and but the company took that direction, and I argued with them. I said, whoa, 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 you got to stop, because the price point's just going to keep going up and going up and going
Hmm.
up. You're
Hmm.
trying to please a group, and the masses don't necessarily want that. They want the piece of furniture. You can play the game. It's all, to me, it was all about the game. It wasn't necessarily about the T molding or the right this or the right that. It was about, hey, can we make the game play as well as it did in the 80s? And of course we could. But some people would get upset. I'm sure people are upset now. They're probably going to write some stuff over here about the guy
I'll write
didn't.
some stuff as soon as the show's over. I'll go.
Yeah, it's
this
all about.
Jerry guy.
But the company, look, there's no doubt about it that the company evolved, and they tried to improve and make things better than what I had envisioned. I wanted a lower price point product that if someone wanted to improve it, they could buy in accessories and
Mhm.
make it better themselves. But I wanted an entry product that you could get out there at a really good price.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of did in the beginning. That's what the riser came out. I wanted the riser to exist forever because I wanted you to buy that one box for whatever the cost was,
Mhm.
$199 originally, whatever it was, right? And if you wanted the riser or you wanted a piece, you buy it separately. You wanted the light up marquee, buy it separately. You want a different type of joystick, buy it separately. But the entry product was a certain product, and you can always improve it. But it just turned out that they didn't follow my way, and rightly so. I mean, they built the company up. I was like, let's not go this crazy way and make a $500 arcade machine. I don't think that that's the right way to go.
Well, how about
Interesting.
how do you feel though about having and they kind of did this up until, I guess recently, and, obviously some things have changed over the past couple months, but,
Yeah.
they had this sort of classic line that was riserless for, I think it's still $299 if I'm right, Kevin. It's like I think they're calling it Classic SE or something like that. It's
Right.
very close to that sort of original template you had, Jerry, where it was not,
Yeah, I
it
know.
was a smaller size, a game
Sure.
list on the front. I don't even know, it might have, I don't know if it's a shark fin design, but it's a very simple
No, it's
design.
not. That shark fin design is gone.
That's past, yeah, but that still exists alongside your deluxe style that doesn't have the riser. It's more of like an inline style, taller but
Right.
narrow cabinet, and then kind of what they were calling the XL, which was my preferred thing because I'm more of a the
Right.
fan type or whatever. But they had basically all three of those coexisting. I mean, how do you feel about that strategy? You
Well,
feel like,
look, that's business. That's
yeah,
business, and I just don't know whether or not we had all the necessary accessories to support creating the basic entry level one and building it into the deluxe, or not the deluxe because you could never build it in deluxe, but building it into that nice, more expensive, what the collector wants by having a light up marquee and maybe a better control deck or whatever accessories you wanted to put into that to bring it up. I, I think we got there, but I don't think I look. I have been out of the company for a while now.
sure,
Yep.
I have. I'm not. I don't. I haven't thought about it.
yeah,
Other than, look, I'm proud of what we did, but I had this problem with the company, as everyone probably knows. I had an issue with them, and we broke ties and everything.
yep.
That's fine. Everything's good. I have no problem. Well, yes, I do have a problem, but
Nothing we can
The
get into.
truth
we
comes
don't even
out.
go there. Don't even go there. But yeah, I'm very proud of what we did. And look, it was a great business. We did really well. I think it was mismanaged in certain ways,
Yeah.
of course, and we did some great things. I think so. I'm very proud of what we did. Would I have? I argued not to do some of the things that we did. I
Yeah.
did, but I was, as the company grew. Probably 3 years in, all of a sudden there was a massive look. When we started the company, I'm telling you right now, it was 7 people.
Yeah.
Wow,
And in 3 years, there was probably 70 people.
that's
And now
wild.
you had marketing teams and you had PR firms, you had consultants, you had VPs in different areas that were influencing you. The licensors were getting very involved in what the product was. I mean, some of the designs we came up with, no one ever seen these before, but I thought they were going to be killer. But then sometimes it just got killed because other people's opinions. Licensors are tough.
Oh yeah.
You want to do something, it's their property, so you have to get their approval to put it
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that stuff got nixed. Oh no, you can't do it that way. You can't do this. You can't add that. So it was a learning curve. But the company did great. It was mismanaged. I think that's my thought. It was mismanaged.
Well, I think it comes down to uh, I think to like the authenticity of it. So originally it was a toy. It was thought of as a toy. We weren't trying to say this is the replacement for an actual real arcade.
Nope.
It was something super cool that you could afford. I think, and Paul and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. I think that actually there was a genius in kind of having the shorter machine, having the riser separate, have the stool separate, because you kind of get into not to be too politically incorrect, but you get into girl math. You're like, oh, the arcade was only $200. Yeah, I bought a $50 riser to go with it. I bought an $80 stool to go with it. I bought the $50 light up marquee.
Right.
As an addition. But the arcade was only $200.
Right.
It's like, okay, girl math, you got it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's a lot harder to, whoever your significant other may be, assuming you have one, to justify a $600+ what amounts to a toy, versus a $299-ish product that you're adding to. And at the end of the day, for me, it's worth it. But I understand that for a lot of people, they either don't have it or they don't want to invest that in something something like that. So I think to some degree, at least, your original vision was proven. I'm curious at what point in the whole process you realized this was a good idea. We made it. Like this this actually, like, I kind of struck gold with this idea. Like, was it pre-COVID or was it right around that
Oh,
time?
it was pre-COVID. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
before COVID. It was probably it was pretty soon. I mean, I bet you within the first year,
like
uh,
2018.
yeah, the first year of making it, Walmart management was bonkers over it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And with such a big player like
Huh.
Walmart,
That's
with
enough.
the amount of stores they have, and they were behind it, meaning I think I can't remember his name now, but somebody high up in the merchandising electronics department, not the toy industry, the
Mm.
electronics department, was a fan of the arcade world, like the community that you have here. They were a big fan.
Okay.
So when they saw it, they just lit up.
Wow.
And we did a great presentation to them. We went to Bentonville. We had a rep group, and they had a beautiful room set up for us. And we set up an arcade. We just literally set up like six machines. We created a backdrop with brick. We had some lighting in there.
Huh.
We lowered the light, so when these guys walked in, they walked into an arcade.
That's
Wow.
And
cool.
this was all the home arcade stuff that you could buy. And I'm going to tell you right now, we won them at hello. That was one of those
Wow.
from the movie. They walked in, they just, okay, how do we do this? How do we become part of this? How do we do this? And that's really when we knew, when they had that response, that's when we knew we had something. Scott and I just looked at each other and we were like, okay, we have
Wow.
something. And then it kind of snowballed, to a much bigger, like you see that the whole home arcade business is really kind of stemmed from that. I could never vision this in my wildest dreams that it would even grow to what it was. I still think there's a huge, in the whole arcade. I mean, there's so many people on the planet
Oh
that
yeah.
would probably want one of these machines, not just the collectors that are going to collect 6, 8, 10 of these things, but there's just these cool machines that when you see them, the best thing we ever did, though, I'm going to tell you right now, the best thing we ever did was we convinced Walmart that you have to display one.
Yes,
Yes.
for
Yep.
sure. Except when they went in without the control cover and
Right.
got warned
You
to
heard
shred.
about it. Yeah.
That was maybe
That's a
that
whole
was
other
maybe
story.
a bad thing, but putting it in the store so people could see it, play it, feel it. Yes, totally,
Well,
totally
but
genius.
we believed in showing it off because just like the Walmart people walked in and saw it,
Yeah.
the only question you have when you look at that is how much does it cost?
Right.
There's no other question. But if you just had a box with a photograph of it, you're looking at it, you go, well, what's the real size? What does it really look like?
Yeah.
So when they agreed to put one in all of their stores along with them, that did it. That really did it, and I'm going to say that was that was Scott. We talked about it. He says the only way we're going to win over people is if they see it.
I
Uh,
believe it because there was nothing like that to date. The best that we got were maybe sort of these boutique manufacturers typically doing either very expensive licensed product in the couple $1,000 range
right.
or unlicensed multicades that looked nothing like the original thing that people remembered. So I kind of feel like you were the first to really go in there and say, this is something you can afford that actually kind of looks like what you remember. Maybe not exactly, but
Yeah.
close enough that you're like, ah, cool, I can get a Street Fighter too. I can get a Pac-Man, whatever. Now, I'm curious, I don't know how much you can or want to talk about, but in some of those meetings and probably ones afterward, I'm sure you showed ideas or titles that you thought maybe this is a license we could get, or maybe that you had and you were pitching to a retailer. What are some of the ones that you would have liked to have seen made that never saw the light of day? Does anything
Well,
come to mind?
I can't speak to that, to be honest with you. Not because I don't want to, because I'm not the enthusiast guy that knows all the
Sure.
different titles. But I can tell you for a fact that we had a giant whiteboard in some of our discussions with Scott and the marketing teams and stuff like that. We had every title on the planet on that whiteboard.
Wow.
Every one. We didn't have. I'm telling you, every title that ever existed, we had on that whiteboard, and we would debate over these things. Well, what about that one? But as the company grew and more voices, my voice got pushed to the side a little bit, and rightly so. When you have so many, now the company grew, and you have people who have titles and they're coming in, but and you had marketing people, different things, and you had experts, certain people that came in as experts, in this area. So, but I can tell you this: I can't tell you exactly which ones, that we could have done, but I thought some of the ones we did go ahead with. I don't remember exactly which ones. Oh, look at that! That's a cool photo.
That was, you probably recognize that from one of your websites. I don't know that you actually produced this particular display, but what you're talking about made me think of these types of displays that you would have wanted to do if you could have.
Yeah. That's that's a fairly recent one, I guess. I don't know how long ago that is.
It's got the Infinity Game Table, which is another sort of, we can talk about that in a few minutes if you'd like to, but that's another sort of success story. But no, I think that the in-store thing was genius, and I know that landscape obviously shifted after COVID with people working from home and staying home more, shopping at home more, things like that. That's probably where Kevin can speak more to the changing sort of situation as far as that goes. But so now you've got this whole other aspect where you can basically ship from Amazon right to people's homes and get it like practically overnight, which is crazy.
It's funny you mentioned that though, because when we're looking at who wants to partner the best, where are our opportunities, when I'm looking at my plan and I'm talking with my sales guys and I'm talking with my teams, I actually want to do more with Walmart. Like Walmart is the more excited partner. So the world comes full circle, and Amazon will always be the juggernaut in the room, right? They will always do a huge amount of volume, but when it comes to your holiday promotions and stuff like that, Walmart's the ones who are coming to us and say hey, we will give you front page placement for these products. These do so well with the Walmart customer. And then again, the other piece that we know is missing, and that comes back to this whole topic that we're talking about, is that in store. If you're looking at a picture, a render, even a video, it's dope. It's so cool, right? But you put your hands on it, and there's that tactile. You're feeling the buttons, the joysticks moving. You get a little bit more of that experience. I mean, it sells you right away. I'm curious to see how many of the lessons did they just get right the first time, and then under the guise of evolution and getting better went a different direction. But it's actually no, inexpensive, cool games, focus on the Walmart shopper who loves this kind of product, and you've got a successful business. But I think what we've seen now, we've seen the evolution, right? So I think there are companies now that are hey, we think there's enough enthusiasts that we want to do the full size machines. We want to do higher quality buttons. So I think, you spawned something, right? And I want to talk a little bit about too, selfishly, it's not just arcade machines anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously, Jerry, you've been working on pinball. And I think it started off where it was kind of like a 3/4, but now it feels like maybe it's a little bit bigger than a 3/4. I'm not sure what the exact size is for you these days, but the idea of having an authentic mechanical pinball machine in your basement for $1,000.
Yeah.
What were you like? Did you just have an extra strong coffee one morning and you're like, screw it, I'm doing pinball next, boys? Like,
And an
Well,
80% size with mechanical, it's almost like a hybrid, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting to me too. So there's a lot going into this and a lot to talk about. So I'm very curious how you went from where you were to coming up with this. And I think in between too, you kind of also had an experiment with what was it called, shuffle golf or something like that,
yeah.
and maybe didn't end up working out, and then kind of went to this, and I think this suddenly got attention. This was like, wait, whoa, okay, this is different. This is more than VPin, but not nearly the $10,000 plus of a real machine, quote unquote, the full size machine.
Yeah. Well, it's
How'd
one
that
of those
happen?
things, just like I think my typical experience of designing product for other toy companies and different people. You know, I really part of Arcade One Up is we did the digital pinball stuff, and that was a good experience because I worked on that, and I I was talking about arcades. I didn't really do a whole lot of arcades. I remember playing 1942 or something like that when I got kind of into that. But I really didn't play. But I played more pinball. I liked pinball when I was young. So I thought pinball was really cool. And then I'm walking. I think it was one of the trade shows, and I'm looking at the pinball machines, and I'm looking at it and I go, man, these things are so beautiful. I mean,
Mhm.
as a designer, a creator, or whatever, I'm
Yeah,
looking at these pinball machines. I haven't really looked at them, the modern pinball machines, but they were like crazy cool,
yeah,
beautiful pieces of machinery. Like I was blown away by how amazing they are. And then I was blown away by the price point.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, wait, how much does it cost?
yeah,
And you're talking about $10,000 to $15,000 for a brand new machine out of the box. And I'm like, wait a second. Well, I'm looking at it, and again, I make product for a living. This is what I do. I'm looking at it, and I'm going, "There's no way I could make a pinball machine. I don't know how inexpensive I could make it, but I look at it, I go, come on, I can make it. So I did an experiment. I said, okay, let me go over to China, got my manufacturers. Let's throw together some plans and some ideas, and let's see what kind of a price. What can I do this for? And again, I told you I have great experience over there because the manufacturers that I use, they make what you want. So if you want something really expensive, they'll make you something really expensive. If you want to put really expensive parts in it, they put really expensive parts. So I had a little bit of a price point that I wanted. I said, can I make a really nice machine? I didn't know I was going to make this good of a machine. To be honest with you, I'm kind of bragging a little bit right now, but I did. I went in the same sort of thinking about the arcade business. Can I make an inexpensive arcade? Can I make an inexpensive pinball machine that was pretty good? You know, um, and in working at it, it started coming out. It started building again. I built a first prototype, and my manufacturers were saying, well, yeah, it's going to cost X. And I go, well, okay, let's put a little bit more into it. Let's get some better parts. And then I studied pinball, which is another thing. I started learning about pinball. I'm not an expert in any way, to be honest with you, but and I don't want to get anybody upset that I might say the wrong thing because there's in
It's
every.
inevitable Jerry just rip off the
I
band-aid.
don't know.
I don't think we have any of the Pinside or Reddit people
Okay,
here
yeah, because I may
you know.
upset them. I may upset them by saying this. Look, the Stern pinballs and all the other pinball machines out there, I love them. They're beautiful. But for me, when I was looking at it as a designer, it's a tilted piece of wood with flippers on it. Okay, there's sensors, there's switches, there's different things going, but it's a tilted piece of wood with flippers on it. I mean, I could let me figure this out. What is the slope? Oh, it's 6 degrees. That's the common. Okay, I'll make a piece of wood with 6 degrees. Okay, let me get some flippers. Okay, let me figure out what's the ramp angles. Okay, oh, there's seven angles that you have to go into. So I learned real quickly the basics of a pinball machine. And then as we were developing it look, I I had some. It's some big. What I went to, I went to what is that trade show? Pinball, a pinball trade show. Uh, Anyways, I can't remember Pinball Expo. So over a year ago, I went to Pinball Expo, and I said, "Hey, I took a black box. I put my logo on there, Wonderland logo, and I put it in the show, and said, I'm making an Alice Goes to Wonderland machine, and it'll be out in a year, and it's going to be $1,000." I just wanted to see what the pinball people would say, right? And believe it or not, I got mixed reviews because some people came up to me and says, "There's no way you can do it. It's impossible. You don't know what you're talking about." But then there's other people says, "Well, it'd be great if you could because these machines we can't afford these. So it would be great if you could make a machine that." So that kind of steered me in the direction that I was onto something. Um, so then, I did Alice Goes to Wonderland because it's a public domain license, or a brand, and I didn't have to pay for a license. And if I made a big mistake, then I didn't have to pay the license off. So I went for that, and I liked it. Kind of nostalgic, kind of cool. Make the artwork a little creepy, not too young.
Borderline like Tim Burton kind of feel.
Yes, like exactly what I thought about. When
The
I was little
artwork
young.
is so cool. I mean, I
is.
was just flipping through the pages of the art. I'm not necessarily huge on the IP per se, but I love the style. It's
Yeah,
so
it
cool.
was a great find. I admired this artist. His name is Carlos Mendoza. He was an art director at Spirit Halloween. I was following him online, as far as his artwork goes. I really liked the way he would actually do these live sessions where he would draw, and you could follow him. And I'm an illustrator. That's how I got into business. I'm an
Right,
artist.
right, yeah.
So I called him up out of the blue. And I said, "Hey, I'm doing this pinball machine. I'd love for you to do it. Like, would you do it?" He never did anything like this before, and he was very enthusiastic about, "Yeah, I'd love to do it. I think it would be fantastic." And maybe it took us a little bit longer than we wanted to do the artwork, but I knew it was important. As when you're looking at a pinball machine, the artwork is very important. And I knew that going in. So, I hired the guy and we spent months, even on different styles. We had some early styles that were too young. They just looked too young.
Yep.
And then a couple that I kind of liked, but I got blasted. I had like a zombie looking sort of a design that I was coming out with. They were kind of creepy, but they had like dark rings. I said, I wanted it to be creepy. And then everyone hated it. So then we changed it again. And then ultimately what we came up with, we really liked. And he did a beautiful job, the way he paints and different things. So I really love the artwork. I think even if it just stands there in your room, it looks like a really nice machine. Oh, that's nice. You're putting up some photos. That was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Well, and the thing begs to be played. It's funny, Jerry. You're the first person who's ever done this that I'm aware of. But for the people who don't know, Jerry and I we met virtually. Hey, I've got this great product. I think you guys will like it. You like the arcades, like you should check it out. I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna come see you. So Jerry's out. Jerry's all the way out on the East Coast, and we're out here in Nebraska, right? And so, the Jerry and Gary show get going, right? They break this pinball machine down, load it in the back of Jerry's pickup truck. It was your pickup truck, right?
Yeah.
It's Jerry's pickup truck. And the day that they choose, they're like, "Hey, Kevin, we're going to be out there Tuesday. Are you going to meet us on Tuesday?" I'm like, "I'll meet you Tuesday." Tuesday, there's like a freaking blizzard. So they had just gotten into Nebraska the night before. They're like, "Oh, the weather's bad. Like, if you can't make," I'm like, "Dude, you guys drove all the way here from the East Coast." So I'm driving through this blizzard to go meet Jerry and Gary.
Right.
They put this thing together. They literally wheeled it into the Spreetail offices, into one of our boardrooms. They built the whole thing up, and he's just like, "Play it, just play it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think." And I'll tell you, like, obviously a little bit like scaled down size wise, right? Scaled down size wise. You don't even like no, you forget that within the first 30 seconds. Now, obviously, the one I was playing was that was like kind of like a very early generation sort of demo. So it didn't have near the bells and whistles. But I mean, I think there's just like certain feelings that you expect when you're playing pinball, and like a big part of it, and what I always missed with the electronic ones is, when you're trying to aim your ball, like what is the weight of the ball? How does that feel through the button as it's resting on the flipper, as it's like rolling and hitting a different spot? Like you can't mimic that. Like there's no electric. You can make vibrations. You can make it banged a little bit. You know what I mean? But you can't mimic the weight of that ball rolling. And as soon as I started playing it, you could just like feel how that ball was resting and how it responded.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. Like I think that was probably one of the fastest. Like as far as new to market purchases, that I was able to get like my entire leadership team behind. Obviously my boss was there. There were other guys who were aware of it. We were sending them pictures and talking about it. And it was like immediate unanimous, like, absolutely, we're doing this. Like this is going to be a great product. So, definitely, Jerry, I appreciate that you gave us an opportunity to jump on the bandwagon.
No, look,
it's going to be big.
We know that you don't see a lot of them in brick and mortar anymore. These big machines, you just don't, because it's difficult to keep it on the floor and taking up space. So the world has turned to shipping, and Kevin, you sold me on your company. You said we are the best at shipping big boxes.
And I stand by it. I stand by it.
Right? You said that to me. You said, no, we are the guys. We are the guys that do this. And obviously I knew about you a little bit from the arcade world and, stuff. So look, I'm the crazy guy that says, hey, I'll hop in my car. I'll drive to Nebraska from New Jersey. What the heck? Yeah. I mean, it's important. I've done it for Arcade 1-Up. You don't know how many crazy trips I did in the beginning. I'm the guy who, I rented a truck one time, one of those big 25-footers. And I was the guy, myself, I drove the thing, around in the early time, and all these arcade machines in the back that we had built already, because you can't build them there at the meeting. So we had them all built, and we had all these machines in them. I'm driving them around in this big truck, and unloading them, sweating like this, putting them in the room, But so when I had the opportunity to drive and see you, when you said, "Yeah, come on out," didn't know it was going to be a snowstorm.
Yeah, thanks for that.
But you were it was great meeting you, and now a year later, or less than a year later, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm amazed myself. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm a hard critic, but the pieces that we are manufacturing now, I have, I got 3 pieces in, air freighted them in, and they're sitting in my studio, and I put them together just like anybody else would put it together, and all the chrome and all the nice pieces, and I'm playing the thing, and I'm going, this is a real pinball machine. It's like a real pinball machine. I hope, and I hope, and I don't have a whole lot of control over that, Kevin, is the ultimate price. I know what my price is. I know what my wholesale price is. You know that, but the ultimate price of what it hits for a consumer, for the different places, then their markup. I hope that we stay right around the $1,000 mark, the best we can, because that's what I've been selling. And I would like it, buying $1,000 is still a lot of money to anybody. I don't care who you are. It's $1,000. So I think my machine is well worth it. When you get it and you look at it, you go, wow, this is worth $1,000. I don't think anybody will be disappointed. But I do know that it's a lot of money. I do. And so I'm hoping that as I continue to make product, because we have other machines that we're making already. I've designed some other machines, as you know. I got some new licenses and do things like that.
Do you want to leak any of those licenses here?
I think you did announce one of them, right?
I did already announce that we're going to be doing Turtles. And we're really excited about that. We got, I'm hoping we got it. We're in discussions with the licensor about some of the artists that have done some art for the comic books, so he can do a play field for us in his style.
Nice.
So we're still in discussions. I have some preliminary artwork that we've been using for development stuff, but ultimately that's really important to me too, is the artwork, and using that style. But came up with a whole new play field and learned from Alice. Of course, I've learned from Alice. For some multi-ball stuff, there's going to be a ramp for getting in multi-ball. There's a third flipper now that I've come in that you're going to be battling, Shredder. We're really trying to put something together that's really good. I'm really excited about it. And there's some other titles that I don't want to say at this point, but look, I'm into mass market. I'm into big licensors. That's the one that everybody likes. But what's great about pinball is that it's not based on a particular arcade game. It could be a subject matter, and you can make a cool pinball machine out of it. That's why there's so many different pinball machines, and because it's not based on just Pac-Man. It's just not based on Street Fighter. It's something. So I'm really excited about this venture that I'm going. And by the way, I'm not only doing pinball machines, but there's other products that I'm coming out with. I'm looking at the whole game room, the arcade game room,
Nice.
the stuff that people are doing, and looking at all kinds of products that go in that game room, and trying to take the same philosophy. What can I do that's kind of cool, kind of keeping the price, but it's cool, it's fun, it's affordable, and so we're looking at other products too in the company. That's going to be cool. So, I'm really excited about it. Obviously I'm a crazy old nut guy now that I really love what I do for a living, where I get to sit in my Cintiq and my drawing, my studio, and I can come up with this stuff. I don't like the sales part. I don't like the marketing part. I don't like
that's when you always walk out of the calls. I noticed that. Like you'll jump on the call, we'll hit all these things, and then someone will be like, "All right." So when we got down to the cost, and Jerry's like, "I got a phone call." Jerry,
Keep it under $1,000. Call me when
keep it
it's
under
done.
$1,000, Kevin.
right, Kevin? Isn't that what I say?
Literal every.
It's
There's two non-negotiables. Kevin, keep it under $1,000, and Kickstarter all gets their orders before anyone else gets a chance, because they believed in the product, and they bought out the Kickstarter in 2 minutes. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that's
nuts.
That's wild. Well,
it's and thank you, because you're right. You're 100% right. I feel obligated. I feel humbled that people at Kickstarter, bought into it so quickly, and honestly, it really helped us. That Kickstarter did what it's supposed to do. It helped kickstart us because,
did.
It literally kickstarts us because, when you get into the type of product that I made, which is, a lot of people would say you're a nut job for getting involved in this thing, but we had 60 tools. So what does that mean? There's a tool. You got a piece of steel that actually makes a product, a piece in that part, and we had 60 of them.
Wow.
That's not cheap. Holy cow.
So it's crazy that what we undertook. But even building it, it's building, right? And I believe that some people, when they look at it, I got to put that together. I think the arcade community will have no problem with it, but the regular home consumer they might get a little intimidated when they see it. But it's really not that complicated because the whole play field is pre-built.
That's the big thing. I watched that assembly video, and it was, it's a little more in depth, but I was kind of like, I would buy it just to put it together. It's sort of like, a model or whatever, like if there's enjoyment in just doing that part of it, that I don't think should be discounted, because there were times that people talked about the TaskRabbit service that Arcade 1-Up was doing and arguing about whether or not they should even be offering that, because they thought that part of the experience was getting to know the product in a slightly deeper way than just something you'd buy and put on the shelf. So, I don't see that as a barrier necessarily, really at all. I'm curious, Jerry, would you be comfortable taking some questions from the chat? We've been typically we interact with them quite a bit. I've been kind of just, keeping the discussion focused to what we're talking about. Would you be open to taking some questions from folks that are
If I can answer them, sure.
Okay,
I
well,
know, hopefully I know
We
the answer to
you
it. But
just hit pass when you want to pass, and we'll
no,
move
no,
on to the next
I'll
they
one.
they know the rules, and they're very used to
No.
us saying like, no, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, they know the rules and they'll break them, but we'll skip it.
No, no, no.
Man.
You asked me before. I'm open to any question, and I'm an open book when it comes to stuff. There's nothing magical or hidden about it. I may not know the answer. I might have not been present, or there was. I know the evolution of what we did, and I can. If there's a specific question about why did you do that way, I
Sure.
may come up. I may tell you, or I may tell you, no, I don't know why they came up with it that way. It was not me. But,
Fair enough.
but
Well,
go ahead, ask
put it
away.
put it in the chat, folks. I'm going to start going through here because I've seen some and kind of ignored a few while we were chatting. But go ahead, chat, and feel free to start asking questions, and I'll pull up what I can here. All right, here's one right away. What titles or entertainment licenses are in the works? Well, that might be the one right away that you can't answer. But if you can hint and maybe even tell us ones that you would like to see, even if they're not necessarily things that you're working on, that might be a way to answer that as well.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say, and I'm not trying to be. It's hard for me to say because we're in negotiations with some of the licensors, and I don't want to. I don't want to tell somebody that I have it, and I don't have it yet because there's a lot goes behind when you start negotiating with a license. But I can tell you that if you look at Universal, that type
Okay.
of world.
Okay.
There's some stuff that I'm looking at over there.
Very
Of
cool.
course, I'm looking at the Disney World.
Nice.
And Disney, meaning, they own, the Star Wars things
Oh
and
yeah.
things like that. So we're still a young company, and these licenses are kind of expensive.
Yep.
So my goal here is to mix a public domain and a nice license almost every year so
Nice.
that I can get a mixture. I know that my public domains may not sell as many as my big license product, but I believe in the public domain stuff. There's some really beautiful like this. Like I love my Alice thing. It really does. I'm so proud of it. It came
It
out
looks
so
great.
nice.
It
It
looks
came out
great.
so nice.
Yep.
But I can improve from what I did because this was my first machine. So I see improvements in making it. So to answer the question, I'm not avoiding it. Look. We're definitely going to be doing turtles, and there are at least three other licenses that I'm in negotiation with.
Okay.
Nice.
What I mean by that is we've reached out to them. Let's give a business plan together. When you get into licensing, they ask you some hard questions like, okay, well, how many do you expect to sell?
Of
Because they want their money based on
course.
a projection of how it is. So right now, I don't. I hope I'm not avoiding the question.
Nope.
No, you're fine.
You know,
That's the answer I give them all the time.
Yeah. Well, you said more than a lot of people would.
Yeah, you
so
said more
that's
than I'm allowed to ever say, so that's fine.
that's perfectly fair. I did want to go back to this one. Fat Hog was asking,
Sure.
is there going to be an auto ball launcher upgrade available?
No, not for the Alice. Right now, I have an auto ball loader. Like it loads it in. It's not something mechanical that you do. It actually pops it in. But actually launching it, no. Getting into cost, and this is getting too deep and too nerdy. But when you get into how many solenoid motors you have in there, and every one of those is a main cost, depending on how strong it is too, how big the solenoid motor is. So we have a limited number of solenoids. That would have added another solenoid motor to it. So I purposely left it out from a costing standpoint. There was a few other things that I left out that I would have liked to put in it, but the costing just kept creeping up.
Sure.
I can tell you right now, there's probably going to be some modders out there that will probably come up with some sort of thing, and hey, you want it automatic, and they can put it in
There always will be. Yeah. No
Yeah.
matter what you do. But is it planned to have unique layouts for each future pinball table release?
Yes.
I feel like I could answer that, but I want to hear it from you officially. Yes. you're saying.
100% yes. I will do this, and be honest with you, I'm thinking about it already. Is that I might take some of my public domain builds that I've tooled up, and I may reskin them with a different program and a different play pattern,
Yeah.
but the mechanical part will be the same.
Okay.
But I would have all new artwork, a new theme, new music, new VO, new animation, because it's very expensive to do all that tooling, and so I may do that, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet, but every title that I will come up with, yes, I will have a unique layout. Um,
Perfect.
Very
um,
cool.
so yeah.
Okay. Jim wants to know, take you back a few years maybe. What's the first toy you created? Now, I don't know if he specifically means brought to market or maybe something that you did illustration or other artwork for.
Oh,
But
that's an easy one for me. Okay.
oh,
Yeah, it's easy. So when I went to art school and I wanted to be an illustrator, book illustrator, a magazine type of illustrator. This is talking about like 1980. So I was into art. Old guy, yeah. So I got a job with a toy inventing group in Manhattan, New York, Manhattan.
wow.
And I was doing what we called market comps. People had ideas, and I would do the market comp, and we would present it to toy companies, and we would build prototypes. So I was just an artist that did other people's ideas. And a quick story is I went to the owner of the company and said, you know what? I'm doing all these ideas. Can I? Because he gave a percentage of the sales to that person. So I
Oh,
said, can
wow.
I come up with ideas? He says, kid, you think you can come up with it? I said, yeah, I think I could. And the first product that I came up with, and I don't know if anybody's going to remember this, was a game called Pizza Party, and
I
it
do.
was
Yes, I remember that.
1980s. They made a we sold it to Parker Brothers,
I remember that.
and it was fantastic. They made a commercial. It sold really well, and such. From that point on, I started inventing not just marker rendering, but creating product. And I, by the way, I sold a lot of products in my day. There's a lot of stuff that I've created, that way. I learned all the toy manufacturers, and if I came up with a cool toy, I would bring it to them and say, "Hey, what do you guys think of this?" And back in the '80s, it was great. Not today; you can't really do that. Oh, there it is.
Boom.
Party,
There it is.
a party. That was my
I
first
remember
product
that. If I
ever.
didn't have it, one of my friends did, but I remember that from the 80s. Is
Oh
that
my
roughly when
gosh.
it was? Was it the 80s ish?
It was the '80s. Yeah, in the '80s. Sometimes
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. 80, 84, 85, something like that. I don't know exactly. I forget the date, but
That sounds about right. I would have
I
been
have it
like 10 or
somewhere. It could
12.
be on the
Yeah.
box.
I think you're getting love from the Gen Xers right now.
Getting that from this
It's
Gen
coming through the
Xer right
chat.
here. Right
Yep,
here.
that's right.
It was so simple back then, but it was great. I got hooked on the whole creating product back then. And
That's so
from that,
cool.
it just snowballed, and I got involved in. I've worked on, my company has, and I personally have worked on thousands of designs.
Wow.
Like literally, like I'm sure everyone in your group has played with stuff that I've touched or I've created. I've been in the business so long, and everyone in the toy industry, in the design end, knows who I am. I've been involved in this stuff for such a long time. So I have hundreds of products that I've worked on. It's silly how many things. Sometimes I forget, and all of a sudden I see somebody's. I worked on that. That was kind of my design.
That's
It's kind of funny.
well.
So
This question kind of ties into that. It's talking about capacity. What kind of capacity do you have in terms of producing more? Like, could they see 2 or 3 products or more from you in a given year?
well, it all depends how this first year comes out in 26. We will be making in 26 4 products.
Wow. That's
So
cool.
yeah, I know I'm crazy. I don't know why, but I believe in what we're doing, and Alice came out so well. We have an unbelievable manufacturer, unbelievable. They've been so supported, and they're huge. They're gigantic maker. So the numbers of what they can produce, their engineering staff and stuff is fantastic. So yeah, I plan on making a lot of products, but that could change. Who knows? How well we do in 26 may determine, maybe I go less or maybe I go more. But yes, I would love to come up with lots of product. Um, you know,
And Kevin's contemplating right now, how many of those do I buy?
I mean, to Jerry's point, this is completely uncharted territory. So I mean, we
Yeah.
can look at a Stern and we can say like, okay, if you're $6,000 to $15,000, we can kind of guess how many machines they would sell. But if you're like, hey, I've got a real pinball machine for $1,000, how many do you think I'm going to sell in a year? I'm like 10,000. Like we could just do some
Who
backwards.
knows?
We could do some backwards math, but I mean, it's just throwing a dart at the wall. 2026 is going to be a big year.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious. I don't see a world where these things aren't incredibly well received. But I'm just curious to see like where is the ceiling on this. I mean, because excuse me. I mean, who would have thought that you could, for the cost of one Stern pinball machine, you could have 4 pinball machines in your basement? Like that's not
Easily.
that hasn't been even in anybody's calculus in building out these, some like the 3/4 home arcades and things like that. The idea not just of a pinball machine like an At Games or something like that,
Right.
but what if I have 3 or 4 or 5 pinball machines?
And mechanical ones at
Mecha-
that.
real mechanical
Yeah.
in every way pinball machine.
And at the 80% scale, I think in the home environment, like, yes, there's always going to be people that have the full-size machines, but unless you have a really big space, like in a home environment, 80%, that sort of like 80 to 90% scale, that feels pretty darn close to the real thing, unless you have the actual, real thing sitting right beside it. So you get a basement with 4, 5, 6 of these mechanical machines lined up, that's going to look pretty slick. I got to be honest.
Especially when they're all on at the same time, all lit up and flash. Oh, it'd just be wild.
Yeah. Suddenly I'm feeling like my pool table might have to,
That's right.
maybe I'll become a pinball fan after all.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have to tell you this is kind of funny. Learning about pinball, and if there's any pinball people on following this, but I did not know about the game playing aspect of it until I started working on the digital pinball at Arcade One Up.
Oh, wow.
I didn't really know about it, and most people, I'm going to tell you right now, the masses out there all play pinball. They go to a pinball, beach arcade or whatever, and they're just banging away and they're trying to get a high score. They don't know that there's actually literally a gameplay going on inside there.
Yeah.
So in me learning about that back in arcade days, I said, man, it's kind of important, that my game has a gameplay. You got to have that gameplay in there. So there's literally 3 levels in my game. And the first level, I'd say, is still hard because you got to guide the ball through the different spots at a certain time. But it gets progressively harder. So it's difficult. I don't think anybody will ever beat the game because you can beat it. I actually have fireworks go off if you ever beat the game on the screen. That's how you beat it. But I don't believe anybody. Well, now somebody's going to take the challenge up and prove me wrong. But I don't. From what now, what's cool about it too, just to let you guys know, is I know that I'm enthusiastic about it because it's my product and everything like that. But again, like with a lot of arcade product in the recent, you can update the machine. So you can send updates if you want to improve the music or even the gameplay. You can change some things. So I plan on updating the game, updating it, with new features and stuff. And it will automatically update. It will ask you if you want to update. Maybe you like it, but as it gets out in the market, probably people will find some bugs that we haven't found yet. And they might say, hey, Jerry, when it does this and it does that, something happens. Okay, hey, thank you for letting me know. We'll get the program and then you might get an update, put out there and a few days later. So that was really a plus for me when I found out we could do this. And I wasn't going to send the price up too high because I thought it was important. It's mechanical. Anyways, I'm happy that I can do the updating.
Good.
Yeah, well, and that, by the way, good to see you, Kong's Rice. But this question slash comment has come up. I've seen in various forums and such, which is, obviously mechanical machines are a complex thing by nature. So, what does the sort of long term sort of, we'll call it like warranty, support, maintenance? What does that look like? What do you anticipate? How are you going to support people that are, investing in these products? 'Cause even at $1,000, that's still a lot of money for some
It's a lot of
folks.
money, yeah.
So what would you kind of answer, for that question?
That's a tough question. No, it's not a tough question. That what the warranty will be. I'm forget exactly. I'm not avoiding it. I forget what we do. I don't know if it's 6 months or 9 months or a
I
year.
did see it on the site, and I'm actually
Does it
I'm not
say?
gonna quote it, but because I forget offhand too.
Yeah,
It
me
was
too. I forget what we quoted, but I can tell you what we did mechanically, which I hope we addressed. I when I was researching pinball machines, especially when I went to the Pinball Expo, I noticed that all the pinball companies had their machines open and they were tinkering with them and stuff like that. And then as I learned, I hired a few consultants that were pinball expos, and they said, these pinball machines, they all break. They're always broken. This they break, this breaks, that breaks. And it's a metal ball. You're banging around. Things get busted. So I said, oh, that can't happen on my machine, right? I got to figure something out. So when you open my machine, which is you actually lift it up just like a regular pinball machine, you actually lift it up. You can see the undercarriage of it. Uh, I think we were pretty clever in what we did. There are little mini boards, and on that board is the sensor and the LEDs on each individual boards, and they're all numbered. And it just takes two little screws and a pop out sort of a pin, right? So they're all over the back of the bottom of the board. So if any one of those switches goes bad or there's something wrong, we can identify what that is and take a Phillips head screwdriver, take the two screws out, unplug it. Oh, by the way, the wiring is all color coded. So there's a main board in the center of the pinball machine. So if you're taking out board number 27, let's just say it happens to have a red pin, pins that pop in that board. Well, the other end of the wire goes to the main board is red. So you always know which one it goes to. So yeah. So we are offering 100. I'm reading it myself. So
yeah. Hopefully
I
that's still right. That's from the Kickstarter, but yeah.
yeah. So so I think we look, the solenoids, something else I learned about, which is that they over time, overuse, that they do lose power. Okay, woof, how do we address that? We have the ability to set the strength of the solenoid. So you can actually go into the settings and set the strength. So right now we have an oversized solenoid, and I believe we're presetting it at 4. So it goes from 1 to 10 as far as strength of the solenoid. If the solenoid gets a little weak and it just doesn't seem like it's popping the ball up far enough, you can go into the settings and set the solenoid strength a little bit higher, so that it can compensate for that. Look, I have the factory that I told you that I'm working with. We have jigs set up with 500 solenoid motors, and they're running nonstop, and they're being tested and length of how long the solenoid lasts. We're going through the testing cycle to see what it would last like, but the true test is when it gets out in the market and
Sure.
people start playing it. And then give me some feedback. I'm going to try to make everyone happy. I really am. I mean, I'm going to try. If someone has a problem with it, I want them to be happy with the product and maybe buy a future product with me. So we're going to try our best to make everybody happy. But I do know, and its reality is, it's a mechanical piece, and I'm hoping that any issues we have, we can address them if they are. I kind of figure that there's going to be some issues. I mean, the $10,000 pinball machines from Stern, they have issues.
Yeah.
They have problems. But I'm hoping the way we did it is pretty clean. There's not a whole lot of mechanical stuff that can fail. Most of them have magnetic switches, not physical switches. They're
Good. Yeah.
magnetics. Metal ball is going over there, and we've tested it, endless testing to make sure it works, and it seems to be pretty good. I mean, I haven't had any major problems. I do have some issues with the coding, which is something that we're working on. Now, meaning I got it solved. The game is playing really well, but I want to improve some of the gameplay. I want some little secrets in there. You know, if you did something, you don't realize what you did, but all of a sudden you got a big score. What did I just do? Did I go up that ramp 2 times in a row without touching anything else? Wait a second, I just got 100,000 points. Wait a second, what did I do? I want to throw some zingers in there.
I don't
You
think a
know?
lot of people realize. I mean, it's certainly happened before I was born, but that pinball was originally thought of as basically like gambling, like a game of chance.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah.
And it took a skilled player to basically prove, no, this is not gambling because I can replicate my performance and beat, sort of the 50-50 odds. So
Right.
there are absolutely techniques involved, with skilled players. So I think a lot of folks out there that take it seriously are going to like the fact that you're aware of that, you're looking at that, you're considering how the gameplay actually works, not just the mechanics of the devices themselves, but how it actually plays.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question from B-Kong here. Are you coding the game yourself?
Well, I'm a big influencer on it. Like I'm a big part of it. I'm a game player. You saw my first product was Pizza Party. So hey, you go, hey, that's not complicated. But I had worked on games for the last like games for the like so I'm a game player. So it's rules, right? It's rules. What happens when you go up one ramp 3 times and that opens up another? So it's rules. But I'm not doing it 100% myself. No, there are other people that are involved. You know, in helping to get the code. And then I got a good studio overseas that has done some work in the pinball area before. That is helping me. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. This one, I don't know if you can answer this, or maybe we even hinted at this earlier. I don't think we did though. When is TMNT? I mean, if you're still kind of working on, finalizing licenses and
no, TMNT. We have the license and we're
that one's
doing it.
final?
And
Okay.
so it's going to be fourth quarter next year.
Oh, okay. Great.
So at the same time, and since we are now in the cycle of manufacturing and understanding how to do it, so Kevin's here and he's one of my distributors. So it's going to be available, for the fourth quarter to sell, during the Christmas time, either during the holiday size. It will be available 100%. I can tell you right now, it will be.
I'm so glad Jerry's here and I'm allowed to kind of like cross the Rubicon. It's such a beautiful machine, Jerry. like that TMNT. That's gonna be a hit.
Well, maybe I can ask, when do you think we can see some maybe teaser artwork from that project to kind of hint at what's coming? I know it's early, but people love that stuff.
I don't know. I have to leave that up to other people because I'm only the
Okay.
designer. What's the proper way to do that? I believe I don't know for sure because I don't want to tell you because look, I'm the guy that just sits there and the crazy guy, that sits there and I design the stuff. And like I said, I stay out of the day-to-day minutia of stuff of how to get it, done. I want to know everything that's going on, but I don't push it that much. I'll call Kevin up, I guess, a couple times, and Kevin, don't sell it for anymore. Hey, Kevin, when you gonna ship that stuff? I might do that, but when are you going to see artwork? I think you might see it soon, actually.
Okay.
I think there's some discussions since we had such a good Kickstarter that we might want to do a pre-sale on it. I don't know that for a fact. I'm gonna
Alright.
tell you, but I know there's been some discussions. Say, you know what? It's already a beautiful machine. I don't know if Kevin, you saw it already. I think.
Yeah, we
In the
did a little virtual walk around.
Okay, yeah. So we already have the artwork from this particular style from the style guide, but it's really a comic book artist. It's not just the turtles from the cartoons. It's actually a cool style. So we already got the artwork for the box and the marquee and stuff like that done. I have the play field is completely new. Got some cool ramps that go up and it's kind of cool. You're kind of in the sewer and You
Oh,
got the
neat.
city above. It's kind of cool what I'm coming up with. So I do believe that probably pretty soon, because we want people to get excited about it. But I don't think we're going to show anything until the Alice gets out into the public. We don't want
Sure.
people to be. Wait a second, you didn't even ship the other one yet. You didn't even get it in my hand. So
Oh, yeah.
I think we want to get people to. I hope the people get it and like our product. And then when we actually start showing the turtle stuff, that people might really go, oh, that's pretty cool,
Yeah.
like that. Um, so yeah, so fourth quarter.
Okay.
There
And
we
are
go.
people? Do we know? There are a couple kind of related questions here about when that product is finally going to be available to order. Will it be available to order first for, current Alice backers, and or is it going to be like a standard pre-order, Kickstarter? I don't know if you
I
guys have
don't think
answered
I
any of
don't
that.
think I don't think we'll do a Kickstarter again, although it was a good experience. I think we have enough followers right now in our own little world that we've created that are following us. But the details of that, I'm a little foggy myself on how we might do it. I know that this other guy, Peter and Andre and Gary and Mike and all the other guys that might be involved in that part of it. Tim, these different guys that are working on that. Um, Certainly, I've talked about it and want to do it possibly when. Um, Not sure. Will the Kickstarter people get the chance to order first?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think that might be something that we look into. I think that's a good question. I think that would be kind of cool, actually. These guys were great in the beginning. I think it would be kind of cool if I offered to them first. But
Yeah.
again, I don't
I
want to
know
do
I
it.
know a guy who can make that happen for you operationally, Jerry, if
Oh
you're
yeah.
interested.
So,
If you decided to say yes to the people, I'd be happy to say yes with you.
I love that. All
yeah.
right.
So
Oh, this is a quick one. You can probably answer this. The art style, and you
yeah.
mentioned comic style. Are you thinking more the sort of early? I mean, obviously TMNT goes back a ways.
Right. No,
Comics came before the cartoon series did.
yeah, no, 100% not the 80s stuff. For me personally, I looked at all the different styles that were presented to me from the Turtles people. And they have a huge library of artwork over the years. And I was drawn to the literal comic book characters, not the 80s sort of, but the comic book style. The real is kind of, and it has
It's
a
like
loose,
grittier.
grittier, cool.
It
I
was,
thought
yeah.
was just a cooler looking style. And I was drawn to one particular. Well, actually, there was three artists that I love. And then we ended up with this one particular artist style, which I beautiful on the cabinet. It just worked out beautiful. And that's the guy that I'm talking to about creating the play field, and the inside side art, and maybe some of the 3D sculpts that may go on in that world are related to that particular style. So it may not be really tight and beautiful airbrush type cool stuff. It may have this looseness to it, like almost like a comic book style, like the buildings, if it had Manhattan in the distance, the buildings are kind of slanted on an angle, the
Yeah.
pizza. We have this pizza shop that you go underneath to collect the pizza, maybe, and the pizza shop is not necessarily too neat, So, I'm excited about it. But I'm developing the artwork, yet. So
And I
I hope
think a
I
lot.
answered your question.
Yeah, and what I think a lot of people they remember the '80s cartoon, but probably forget or maybe don't even know that there was a more sort of I don't know if it was actually a graphic novel, but I will say a more graphic style that came before the sort of family friendly cartoon. It was more almost adult oriented. It was a much sort of grittier style, and I don't know that we'll be going that far back, but I think there's just been a lot of art styles that have been used for
Oh,
the turtles throughout the
there
years.
was a lot. Yeah, when I was looking at all you're flipping through this I don't know 1,000-page art catalog, and
Wow.
you're just looking through it, and I just kind of I thumbed through it, like I didn't do that. I was clicking on my
Yeah.
mouse, but I'm looking through it, and like I said, I was drawn to this. I guess it's comic book, graphic novels or whatever you want to call them. art styles that maybe not as popular that people are aware of, but they're really cool. They're really a cool style. So
Paul, I think it's kind from what I saw, Jerry, and I'm sure there's. I mean, it's still in production, but Paul, it does sound kind of like it's more in line with what you were talking about, where similar to how Alice, it's totally kids safe, but it's also adult cool at the same time. That's kind of like how I would describe the art style.
Yeah.
Like it's not scary or like anything that like, oh, I wouldn't want my kid to have this Turtles machine.
Sure.
But it is kind of sharp enough and gritty enough that if you, as a grown man, you have it in your basement and it's still very cool.
no, it's cool.
It's
Look,
that
I
that
know
that
it's my
grown-up
opinion. I know
kind of
it's my
style.
opinion, but I think it's cool. And even if you look at the movies that came out, over the last number of years, you can see
it's
even the art
changed.
style and the style. They pushed it all the time, and there was different look and a different way they did it. So, and I love the nostalgia stuff too. But I'm also into bringing it more closer to today.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Now I've got another question. This is just for me because you hinted at it earlier. We didn't circle back around to it, but I think you suggested that there may be other products that are. I have a feeling with somebody like you, there's probably always products kind of rolling around in your head, but maybe some that are closer to being something you'd actually bring to market outside of the pinball realm and more into just your home gaming space. Can you hint at what any of those types of products might be? And I'm going to assume it's not an upright arcade machine. I'm going to assume it's not pinball. Could it be, I don't like what skee ball or hockey or any, tell me if I'm getting warm, like, do we have anything that we can hint at?
Yes.
And we're done.
Yeah. No, yes. I am looking at all the big pieces of furniture, all of them that are in a game room. I'm
Okay.
looking at every
All
single
right.
one, but I would never just do that. I would never do just that. I would have to put a twist on it. I'd have to make it cool. So my creativeness that I've created in other products, I would look at it and say, okay, how can I make this cool? Let's just say I'm not saying I'm doing skee ball, but if I did skee ball, I wouldn't just do skee ball. There's skee ball out there. I would have to do something different, and I don't know what that means other than if I was sitting at my drawing table saying, well, let's do a skee ball. And people are like, do skee ball. Okay. What can we do? Maybe I'm just talking out loud. I'm just making this up right now. I'm inventing for you right now. But as you roll down the skee ball, you're actually playing a game. You have to hit targets. It's not
Okay.
getting the
All
highest
right.
score. You have to actually play a certain particular game. Maybe I'm just talking out loud. I'm not doing a skee ball. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But that's what I would do. I'm looking at all the stuff that you'd find in a game room and put another twist on it.
Well,
Uh,
one of the things just that you're doing, even with the pinball by itself, that's a twist, aside from the art and play field and everything else, is just the fact that it's an 80% size at a price that's, I'll say, close to affordable. In other words,
Right.
you try to buy something like that normally, outside of what you're doing, nothing else exists that's
Right.
like that. You've got VPin, of course, and then you've got the full
Right.
size, $10,000 machines. So even just bringing it down to an 80% size at a $1,000-ish price point by itself is unique. There is not that I know of, a skee ball, a hockey, whatever, some other product in that realm, really, that's sort of that size and price scaled down home friendly factor. So
Right.
that by itself, to me, is kind of a win. Even as something as silly as your claw machine from Arcade One Up, which a lot of people crapped on, my kids love it, and I could afford to buy it.
Right.
So that's a win, and it's like, okay, it's not for me, but it's still like, okay, that's part of a arcade experience that I couldn't obtain before in a reasonable way. Unless I went to Japan and, it's had some kind of air freight of a $5,000 machine or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so cool. I'll take it for what it's worth, and I'll say keep going, and then I'll bug Kevin later for inside information.
Jerry, I got to tell you, you now know exactly how hard it is to dance around these questions. I feel like sometimes I'm in a room full of lawyers and I'm just like getting grilling. So I'm glad that you were able to do that so well.
I just saw a comment. Someone said, "I love the shuffleboard Kickstarter."
Oh yes.
And I want to address that because it's interesting. That product was taking shuffleboard and just putting a little twist on it, and that's a perfect example of what I want to do as I move forward. That product didn't come to life, not because I pulled it, because I got a cease and desist from Arcade One Up because I had done a concept for them. Not for them. That was my idea. I brought to them. I said, "Hey, let's do this thing, the shuffleboard type of thing." Never made it. Never did it. Never did anything. And when I went out my own, when I did my Kickstarter, I got a cease and desist. So I immediately pulled it because I'm already in a lawsuit with them and different things like that. So that got kind of ugly, and it stopped me from doing that. But I really liked what I did. I thought it was very creative in that product. It was fun to do. As we were working on it, the guys had a blast. We were playing in the office and saying, "This is really kind of cool." It's a fun thing. I don't know how successful it would have been, but it was a cool product, and it was just what we were talking about. Do a twist on something.
Yeah.
Do a twist on something. Do something cool. So
the moral of the story is don't take your ideas to anybody else. Just make the thing.
Well, that's what I learned right now. And that's why I'm making my own product. I'm never going to do it again. I'm going to make my own product. And if it works, it works. If it fails, it was on me, so.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate that explanation because I think there certainly was a narrative out there that it was just not successful in terms of popularity because it was unique or different or whatever. So that certainly clarifies things. Obviously, there's certain things you couldn't talk about at the time, but appreciate knowing that in retrospect. So
yeah, and I don't mind saying it now. Like I said, I'm an open book. Things are over. It's been years. I don't really care anymore. I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. I'm not in the middle of a lawsuit, so it doesn't bother me. I'll talk about anything, about whatever. So anyways, any more questions or?
Well, we are, we went through a lot, took a lot of your time. I think we're probably at time or past time. I don't know what.
We never finish on time.
No, we never do.
I don't know what time, how long
we've advertised as an hour show. So anywhere between 45 minutes and I think 5 hours was.
We did a 5-hour stream the one night.
Okay.
So it was all good. I think Jerry, I do just want to say thanks for being our first guest.
Oh. Hey.
Not to blow too much smoke up you, but if you hadn't been where you were doing what you did, we wouldn't be here doing a podcast. There wouldn't be an entire community around these 3/4 arcades. And now you're starting to see the next generation, even beyond what you originally envisioned.
Sure.
Where the product is evolving and growing, and you really started something. And
yeah, we did.
So awesome, and I think totally respectful and appropriate that you be the first guest. Since this is the main topic, couldn't have picked a better person to be here. So thank you for making the time for us. And
sure. Okay, you got it. And if there's any other questions that that someone really wants to find out or something like that, Kevin, pass them on to me, and I'll say what I can because there's no secret. It is what it is. Things happen. It happened. It's but if there's anything anybody would like to know about, I'd happy to come back. If there's a half a dozen questions that they have to know about,
that's right.
Let me know. I'll come back on. I'll do my best. I have to say one thing before we leave is that it's just not me too. There's lots of people around me and that help create that product and make it what it is. I may have been the catalyst, like the guy that kind of literally, lack of a better word, kickstarted it or got it going. But there's a lot of people that were involved in it. Some great people, that probably wouldn't have been there if it wasn't there. They were a great part of it. So I just want to make sure that it's just not me. Don't look at me and say, "Hey, it's Jerry." No, it was a group of people that actually contributed and made good decisions and made some great artwork and did some great stuff. So, just want to say thank you to them if they're listening.
It's a good looking machine.
It is. Well, Jerry, thank you very much for your
Okay,
time.
you're welcome.
Yeah, guys, if you guys have any questions for Jerry as follow-ups, I know the biggest one's going to be when are the machines going to ship. So what I can tell you is right now they're going through and they're booking the freight. They're booking the freight. So that means getting ahead of Chinese New Year. All of us buyers are out here jostling for space on ships. So that's exactly where they're at right now. Just talked with Peter the other day, and he was giving me updates. So
Great, yeah. No,
so
sounds
don't
great.
have a definitive date, but I can tell you that they're jostling for the space on the boats.
Yep.
So that's the last step before we have hard sale dates. So very excited about that. If you have any other questions for Jerry, you guys you've all had my email address. You reach out to me all the time. So feel free to jump in, ask a question, shoot me a question. I'll shoot it over to Jerry. And thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being part of the community.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you,
Really
everybody.
appreciate it.
Okay, you guys take care now.
All
Take it
right.
easy.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll catch you soon.
All righty.